Welcome to another episode of
Talk, Heal, Evolve. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Ebony.
Ebony, let's take them on a journey of healing and self-discovery.
Yes.
Grab your seat.
Wrap yourself in a cozy blanket.
Don't forget that journal.
And prepare to dive into conversations that nurture the soul.
I think it's time to create intentional space for growth and evolution.
Girl, you ready?
Let's get into it.
Welcome to our very first episode of Talk, Heal, Evolve. I'm so excited.
So am I.
I am so excited to be here with you all today.
It's been a long time coming. So
listen,
this feels good.
We're like 4 hours in right now.
Just today alone.
Just today.
Yeah.
To get this out to you all. So very thankful and grateful to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a really great topic for you all today.
Yes.
Surrounding self-love.
Yeah. I like it. I feel
But
like
I have a little,
what?
I have a little
I love the topic because a lot of what we'll talk about,
yeah.
what we do, how we live is based and rooted in this. So
Absolutely.
it's a great way to start off
Absolutely.
our podcast.
I love that we're starting it off that way. I think that just to throw a little something in there. Because it's like, okay, well, how did y'all get to self-love? Like, everybody's not there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So a question that I want to pose to both of us, you being first, have you ever been depressed before?
Yes.
Okay. I want to start there for us because I feel like sometimes it takes us to get to what we consider our lowest points, which we will have many throughout life, right? Because I feel like when you get to those points, that's where the evolution comes from for loving on yourself and stuff like that, you know? So I kind of want the people to kind of get to know us a little bit more and let us start our journey there, and then we'll switch over to self-love and kind of just work our way up.
Why are we starting so deep?
Because we want people to come in.
Cool.
I love a good deep conversation, y'all.
Yes, she does.
I am very, what's the word for it, Stephanie?
Introspective, I would say.
That wasn't the word I was looking for, but all right.
But you are. But it's good, you know.
So, tell us, Stephanie.
Yes.
Not when was the first time, but give us an experience. Take us through like an experience you had when you were going through one of your lowest points.
Oh my gosh, I wish we were prepared for this because this is not on my card.
This is where all the edits are going to come in because you're not going to want any of that in there.
Of course I am.
Okay.
Of course I am.
Go ahead.
I think that one of my lowest points was being on my own.
Okay.
I'm very, very, very family oriented.
Okay.
And there was a point in my life when my sister moved to Georgia, and then sometime after my mom moved, my dad was trying to hold out. So him and I were thugging it out in the Bronx in the house alone. And then he finally moved.
Yeah, because he said, I need to eat.
Right. That part. Who is washing my clothes? And then my mom came and she helped me find an apartment and stuff. But it was at that point that I realized, like, I'm out here by myself. Like, this shit was crazy. It felt overwhelming.
Okay.
Like, initially I thought it would be like a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And independence, because I've been on my own before. When I went to high school, I was with myself. But this was different.
Yeah.
This is like an adult alone.
Absolutely.
And then even though I was surrounded by people, I was still by myself. Which is a hard thing to really come to grips with.
That is a fact. And I think a lot of people go through that. A lot of people go through the I'm surrounded by people, but I still feel alone phase.
Yeah, and it's heavy, because you start to feel almost guilty, right? Because these are my friends, like, we supposed to turn up, and it was not that.
Right. And
so just having to go to work, come home, and then really sitting with yourself and trying to be like, yo, I have a good life, and try to, find things that are great. And sometimes that's hard to kind of dig yourself out of what you're in to identify things that are good. Yeah. And then I would come and then have to go back home. So it was I remember one day that it got to its peak, there was a roach in my apartment, and there was nobody to get it for me. So I literally went into the hallway, and the next person that passed, which was these two Hispanic men that I never seen in my life, I didn't even care about my safety because that roach was gonna get me. And I was like, "Can you please come in my apartment?" And and I called my father. He ended up calling like a family friend who still lived in the Bronx. This guy drove all the way across the bridge to Queens to my apartment to come and spray for me. Like,
that's love.
I just realized how alone I was. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, get it together, And so that was just one of the times. How about you?
That's good. I guess I'll go with my most recent. Coming off of the road from traveling. Literally traveling since the pandemic, consulting with restaurants and stuff. And I think that I went so hard for it because it was consistent money. And you know how working for yourself is like, I gotta do too much.
Yeah, because you never know.
I gotta do too much, you know. Like, so it was consistent. And I was like, you know what? Let me just take this. And then I would fly back home anytime I had a client, whatever. So I think once I got off the road, I hadn't been home in so long because like for the past 2.5 years, I had been living from hotel to hotel, just from city to city. So coming home and really having to figure out, okay, what's next? Like, do I wait for another contract or do I just go back into my business and having to pick that back up and I guess just going through the motions of it all and figuring out, like, even though I was traveling and the money was consistent and it was really good, it just wasn't the life that I seen for myself, like, for my future. And what does settling down look like and preparing myself for a family look like? So I think that I went into just this, do I pivot? Do I... what does life look like if I'm not on the road anymore? Because it's been my life for the past 2.5 something years. And I think I just kind of got really comfortable. My bank account was nice. And I just kind of sat there and it was like, I'll figure it out. Going in and out of my dark moments and really just having to sitting still. Listen.
To deal with the stuff.
To deal with all the stuff that you haven't dealt with. It can be a little tricky. And I think that I don't know what really kept me sane. I mean, sometimes I had my days where I didn't want to get out of bed. And I'm very much so an introvert at heart. I love being at home. So I think sometimes it got to me where it was like, okay, I think this is too much. And I need to really get out and be outside with people. But it was so hard because if I'm not in a good place, I can't get the energy to just get up and go out. So that was my rough moment. And journaling helped me out. A little bit of meditation I was doing every once in a while. It wasn't an everyday thing. And then just talking to the people that I did have that were supportive of me and just cheering me on from afar and having grace for me where I was at and stuff like that.
I think that's a hard pill to swallow, right? Because like you said, you're successful, things are going well.
Right.
And,
you're like, I should be happy. I should be so happy. So when you said that, it really clicked for me because I'm like, I think a lot of times we equate like happiness and with things and things and what we've done. And it's like, but none of that is it.
And none of that really matters, right? When you get down to the nitty gritty, none of that stuff matters.
None of it. It is, who do I have in my life? What did I put out into this world? Like all the things you think about once you start getting older and stuff like that. And it's like, I can accomplish all these things and accumulate whatever it is I'm going to accumulate. But if I don't have anybody to share it with, oh my.
That part.
Hard pill to swallow.
It is. And if you have nothing to give back, if you have left no mark on this world, like, what are you even here for?
Right. It's like, because what are they going to say? I was reading I was reading this book. I believe it's 7 Habits of a Highly Successful Person. I believe that's the name of the book. And in one of the chapters, they gave you an assignment.
Yeah.
And in the assignment, you had to think about what your funeral would be and who would be there. Like, they gave you a whole scenario. They wanted you to walk through your mind, make sure you're in a quiet place. And it's like, what are people saying about you?
Yeah.
Like, what mark? And that, during that moment, because that I did that, and I was reading that book during that my downtime and stuff. And I remember, like, calling some of my family members, and I'm like, if you had to, what would you say?
Yeah.
And, because I want to, sometimes we don't know how we affect other people. We don't
Absolutely.
know if we heal people. We don't know how people feel when they leave us, especially if they don't say it or if we don't even give space for them to communicate that. So I thought it was important. And one of the things that I realized is that everybody knew me for business me. I didn't like that.
Wow.
Everybody knew me for Chef Ebony.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so much more.
Yeah.
That, like,
it's almost hurtful.
It's almost, but that's the life that I've been, since my divorce, I have been very much so business and nothing else.
That's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Very much so. It was just easy to do, like, straight into it. You know what I mean? So,
It's so funny that you say that, because in death you realize things, right?
Yeah.
All the things that you could have or didn't, but I think that was one of the turning points in my life. So I was a professor at this college in Long Island, and one of the students passed away. He wasn't in my course. I didn't know him, but some of my
colleagues,
my mentees, were good friends with him. And so, I was like, oh, who is this guy? Do I know him? Because they'd always come and sleep in my office, sit in there, just shoot the shit, right? And so they were like, I don't know if you know him, Professor G, but he was this and this. And everybody kept saying he was just so thankful for everything. Like, it wasn't like he didn't have anything.
Right.
Because he was fly, he was popular. But he was just so thankful for everything. They were like, the smallest thing that you would give him, he would just be so grateful for it. And I was like, that is not weird, but that's an odd thing to say about a student that young, right? And so who am I to not be more grateful for the things that I have, the things that I'm doing, the lives that I can touch, And so from that moment, I was just like, how can I be more grateful and actually say it, right? Because if he didn't say it, then they wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know.
And that's what really drew people to him, was that he was just grateful for everything. And I was like, well, dang, how can I do that?
Yeah.
So it's just weird how it takes things like that to really pull you out.
Yeah.
Or even to imagine who's coming to your funeral. Yeah. Bro, that's crazy. What would they say? Who would be there?
It's like a light switch. It's like an aha moment of like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And sometimes we need those really sharp moments to kind of wake us up, to be like, okay, a change really needs to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the change that I needed. What impact am I leaving on this world? What are people going to remember me by? What are people saying about me? You know what I mean? And I think it's really good when you have a team or a support system of people that you can reach out to.
Yeah.
And they give you the honest truth and feedback that's going to propel you to the next level.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I think it's important that they give you that, but also give you the space to kind of be in the thing that you're in.
Yeah.
And slowly help you come out. Because depression is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And it can be very crippling.
Yeah.
And so just not to be like, oh, well, and be dismissive about it.
Yeah.
Just to really understand that people really have these moments where things just feel like they've fallen apart.
Yeah.
Look at the suicide rate. Like, it's evident that this shit is real.
Yeah.
And that, we need to kind of be more cognizant of who we talk to, how we talk to them.
Very true.
Just things,
Yeah.
And I think that you did really good by starting this episode like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, which I don't like, but I think it was really good because when you love on yourself, you know, you kind of can remediate that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Prevent that from being such a harsh thing. It may come still.
Correct. Because you'll have the necessary tools in order to handle it moving forward. And that's why it's always a journey.
Yeah.
Never a destination, because things are going to come up, and it's not about life being so amazing that nothing bad ever happens.
Oh,
it's
girl,
about,
I hate that.
it's about having the tools necessary so when things occur, they don't hit you as hard as they used to.
Yeah,
you know
for sure. And you just said that, and that kind of grinds my gears when everything's all perfect for everybody. And so I think it's important to have these conversations, right? Because so many people suffer from so many different things, depression being one of them. But if we don't talk about these things, illnesses that affect our families, Black people especially, you know, just things that we're going through, and just be real about things, people feel like they're alone.
Exactly. And you know what, though? I feel like majority of the world probably feels that way.
Oh, absolutely. Especially children.
Yeah. Especially. Jesus Christ.
What? Oh, a ladybug.
Is that a ladybug? Yeah. Please don't come over here. That's so good for our podcast, though, because they're good luck.
Oh, are they?
Out of all the bugs that you have seen, and I've seen you deal with them, this is the one where you sit and you're just like, oh,
listen, I am like trying
because
to maintain my composure.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, back to the program. I do think kids go through it a lot, and I think that it's so important for us to create spaces to have these conversations. Because like you said, the rate of suicide is out of this world right now.
Ridiculous.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as disconnected as we are to ourselves and other people, I think that once we create the space for it and open up, you start to see more people actually gravitate towards you. Because a lot of people are in the same spaces.
Yeah.
And the conversation is so needed and so wanted that when you are authentic and standing in who you are and where you are in life, people love that because they're in the same spaces and just wishing they had somebody to relate to.
Yeah.
That could understand where they're coming from.
And, you know, it helps both parties, right?
Yeah.
Because it helps you as a release.
Yep.
And then it helps them in terms of, like, not feeling so isolated.
Yep.
So communication, you know, and just sharing your story and the journey that you take authentically, right?
Yep.
Not that we don't want to see the Instagram you. We want to see the real you.
The real you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The who you are from the soul level, who you are inside, how's your heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Interesting.
So, that was a really good start. And the segue into the actual topic for today of self-love is, how did we come out of those spaces?
Yeah.
You know? I think for me, it took me leaning on the experts in my life. Me being able to pick up the phone and call my therapist. Me being able to call on some of my past mentors and coaches and just, you know, getting advice and, you know what I mean? It took me reading, and it took me starting to get out the house, right? Like saying yes to the invitations that were sent my way and just going with it regardless of how I felt about myself or regardless of like whatever was playing in my mind. It really took me to just get up and say, I'm going to do it anyways. Like, I'm not going to make any excuses on why I can't do it. And so it brings me to like because this was last year for me. This was early last year for me. And so I went on 2 vacations last year, and I have been sitting at home without a contract probably since like May of 2023.
Right.
And so one of my friends called me and she was like, we're going to Panama. And I'm like, I'll let you know. like I always do with
I was gonna say the
everybody.
infamous.
Listen,
I'll let you know.
because the invites come in and I'll be like, listen. Usually I'm not at home though, so usually it's like
easy.
I can't. Yeah, it's easy because it's like, oh, I'm out of town, I'm working. Yeah. So I just was like, okay, fuck it. I need to get up. I need to get out and get in nature, get in some sun, get in some water. So that was the first trip, and I had such a blast. And I was glad that I went.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, like, okay, this is what I miss out on, especially because when I work so much, not only is it an excuse for me not to do the things, but I also miss out on the memories that can be made. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that got me out. And then it was the invitation to Miami. That was the second one that really got me out the house. And then it really kind of got me like, both trips I was with an older crowd. And I'm like,
first of all, don't do that. Don't do that.
Nobody had to know. Nobody.
Don't do that.
Nobody
For
had
whoever
to know.
was on your trip, I don't even know, but don't do that.
At the time.
Go ahead.
At the time, I was with the older people, so no, beautiful. Let me tell you something though. When I say older, it don't even mean anything because the way their spirits were, you would never be able to tell that some of the ages that I was hearing, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like don't crack, but that's neither here nor there. But it really, it put in perspective, like, I had just let myself go. Like, I had just let myself go. Child, them chicken wings from American Deli was calling me.
Can't. Shout out to American Deli, though.
Listen, because the hot with the lemon pepper sprinkles.
Listen.
They were calling my name.
And you was answering, though.
Every time. Hello?
Right. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
Blue cheese dressing. Please. So yeah, I just got to a point where I was like, okay, I really need to start working on myself and loving on myself more, because I was like, I recorded one cooking video. After the Miami trip, maybe a couple of weeks after, and I'm like, okay, I need to get in the kitchen. I need to start doing it. You know what I'm saying? I've been talking about I'm gonna do this forever, and it ain't happened yet.
Yeah.
Girl, I looked at that video and I said, who is this? I don't know her. Who is this? I have let myself go. What's going on? And I was just like, if I don't get a hold of this right now, what am I doing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a weight thing. It started with just a weight thing. But what it became was can I just keep a promise to myself?
Those are the hardest ones to
Can
keep.
I just be a stand for myself?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where it started. Long story long, but
right. Period.
So Stephanie.
No, but I love that for you, and I really do think that promises to yourself are the hardest to keep.
They are.
And it goes back
why?
to because there's no accountability. Like, who do you have to answer to? You know what I'm saying? But I love that. Not that you just could recognize that, but you allowed yourself to start those promises. You know what I mean? Because that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And one of the things that really kept me going, whenever I was doing something against what I said I was going to do, I just kept saying, my future self will be proud of me, and will be proud of me if I restrict myself from this in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, can I sacrifice this little bit in this little moment to have what I want? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in
for the rest of your life.
Yes.
You know, it's so crazy because we say it in passing, but it's so true that you never know what people are going through.
Yeah.
Because I would have never known.
Yeah.
Like, I had a damn good time.
So
and you really don't consider what that behind smile is like, what
Right.
people could be, and so that's why it's always so important to just love on people. Not even, it doesn't even have to be somebody that people in passing.
Absolutely.
Just hi or smile,
Absolutely.
because you
Absolutely.
never
You never
friggin'
know.
know. Yeah, and I think my climb out came from leaning on other people.
Okay.
So just finding the joy in other people, and I think that's why I try to serve so much, because like I would just lean into my students.
Yeah.
I would call my mom like every day, 50 times a day. She's like, "What now, Stephanie?" It's like, why are we even hanging up at this point? Because ain't no more nights and weekends. I got minutes. So it was just like just relying on other people and just like in building other people, I felt
Like
whole. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know that that's bad because some people just don't want to be built, right? And so you just spend so much energy. But in that moment, everybody was just like a crutch for me. And just like, just making sure that everybody was becoming their better selves.
Right.
And it really helped me get out of whatever shit I was going through. So, yeah. My story wasn't as long.
It's okay.
But
we know,
that's just what it is.
One thing they're going to find out about us is I'm one of the people that can talk
Storyteller.
to you. Listen, I'm going to take you through it.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the point because...
And Stephanie really don't want to share, so she's really going to get to the point. Let me tell y'all gonna see me pulling teeth with Stephanie, but I guarantee you, by time the year ends, Stephanie is going to share more than she realizes. Okay.
I mean, we've already said just between the two of us that this is a journey for both of us, right?
Absolutely.
And I think even to get into this point, like right now, it's been a learning and growing experience.
It has.
So some of them are rough.
Absolutely.
But I already see how I've matured and changed. And so I am excited because, baby, I'm excited to see what the year brings. I'll just say that.
Yeah. For those who are not watching YouTube right now, the way she just looked at her watch and was like, I have changed. It's giving, okay? Because it started off real nice.
I mean, listen.
We was like, oh, God is on our side.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. We had a couple of trials and tribulations.
We sure did. But it always ends in love, right?
It does.
And I think that happens or is able to happen when you start working on yourself.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
you realize what you need. And you also, I know you say a lot of it is self-reflection, but I am very external. And so I realize what I need. I realize what other people may need in that moment. And just try to find a happy medium between the two, So it's all growing.
And it's all about having compassion for one another.
Absolutely.
Like, I think we do a good job at communicating. I'll have to always say that because the old me would have been like, fuck you, I'm out.
Listen, what podcast? Because I ain't for this shit no more. We had a good run. We talked about some things, had some late night snacks.
Okay.
That was great.
But like, listen, girl.
Right.
The hours that we have put into this, right, for us to create this, have been exponential.
Yeah. Way more than anticipated.
Way.
And like, I feel like our off-camera discussions are so lengthy and deep that it's like, damn, we ain't recording shit yet. Like, what is going on?
Our conversation is just to be, girl, one day we started talking at like 10 or 11 o'clock. Girl, the kids
started coming down the stairs. It's time for school. Like, what?
It was 7 in the morning.
Yes.
I said, I got to go. We turned the camera on and it was like, what conversation?
Right.
We did a good 22 minutes and that was
of planning. Yeah, it went nowhere.
So it was, but I feel like it was all necessary. Though.
Absolutely.
I feel like it was all necessary and it was a build up for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, it's the journey. So it's up and down. It's never just, you know what I'm saying? So, but we're here.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
Same.
People don't know what time it is right now.
I'm not even going to say to embarrass my damn self. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm gonna tell y'all what time it is.
Don't tell them what. You can say the time. Don't say the days.
It's not even that.
Good shit. Yeah. Okay, let's get into the topic because delirium. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's.
The topic is self-love.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about how society would define self-love and what we think it is.
Okay, so society, huh?
Yeah.
Google. Oh, it's 12:12. I love that for us.
I think that it's more selfish from a selfish perspective when you think about society. Whenever we think of self-love, it's like, well, what are you doing just for you without maybe considering other people? And I think that self-love is, yes, you're considering the whole everything and everyone, yeah. But you are also considering yourself. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we don't consider ourselves, which leads to issues.
Yeah, I think in today's society, people equate self-care as self-love, which I feel like is a misconception.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I have self-love because I go get a massage, or I go get my nails done." Like, girl, that's self-maintenance.
Right.
Has nothing to do with love.
Correct.
Everything to do with keeping yourself up.
Right, that part.
Right, the facade of things.
Yeah, and not really.
And that's because it's really the outside.
It is a facade.
It's the facade of things. Yeah. Because what do you look like on the inside?
Mm-hmm. How do you feel?
How do you feel? And are you comfortable not putting any makeup on?
Oh, right.
Can you walk out the house without those lashes on?
Right.
And still feel whole and still feel beautiful?
Yeah.
Let's
some
talk
people
about
can't.
it.
Some people can't give you the answer that you would think.
Listen,
you know,
I think that's hard for a lot of people because I think for a lot of people, and I'll say people, I don't want to say women, but we as women, we do a lot of that. We have to put the hair on, we have to, have the makeup on and the lashes on, and it's like, first of all, I'm not doing that every day.
Right.
Plus, my skin right now I'm detoxing, so y'all on YouTube.
HD.
But the skin be looking real good, okay? Yeah. Especially when I just don't want to give all that energy to have to put all that on and show up for what?
Right. And for men too, it's about going to the gym so that you can,
gosh,
but you're broken.
Ooh.
But you're broken on the inside.
We need a bell for that. Ding, 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 ding.
Not
your body built, but you broken on the inside.
Right.
Listen, not that your face did up, but you broken on the inside. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Putting our representatives out.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we all
and
do it.
And they tired.
Right.
They are tired.
And I want to say this. We all do it. We all have been there. So this isn't like us coming for anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's us speaking from our own experiences of being in those moments. And it's very tiring.
It is tiring.
Keeping up with all of that.
Yeah, I've never been into makeup, but I heavy into clothes and shoes, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's another thing where, what do I have on? It's not really what you have or what you have on.
The aesthetic of everything.
Right. It's what's on the inside and how you're loving on that person.
Exactly.
Whether that be the child in you.
That part.
Or if you have matured, how are you keeping and maintaining yourself?
Absolutely.
As opposed to your body.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Yeah. And I think that it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. It does.
To love on yourself.
And it'll never stop, though. It's forever ongoing. You know what I mean? It's always ongoing. It is because it's like, say, for instance, you're 35, right? And you're just getting to this space where you're like, I really need to start digging deep. And it's like, you've been doing bullshit for 35 years. So you can't expect for you to do a year of self-love and self-care and like positive talking to yourself and affirmations and all this stuff. You can't expect for 35 years of shit and 1 year of greatness for it to be like, my life is different.
Yeah, it don't work that way.
It really don't.
And I think that some people get discouraged, right?
Right.
Because first of all, you're digging deep, right? Yeah. Into things that you may have had traumatic experiences or, not know how to love on yourself because you haven't seen it. All those kinds of things, right? And so you're digging deep And so to address those things is the first step, right? And then learning how to still love despite is the next step. And so if you can't get through the hard stuff, you can't make it on the other side. And this is not one of those things where you can fake it till you make it. Like,
it's not.
It just doesn't work that way.
It's not. And what's interesting, especially because I hear it so much, and I think I might have been listening to a YouTube channel or the radio today where they were talking about happiness and love and how people seek it outside of themselves. You know what I mean? It's like you think that getting someone or getting something will bring you happiness or to bring you love, and it's very, I was about to make up my own word momentarily, but it's very just in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that when you start doing the work, you realize that what it actually is a realization of who you are wanting to become is someone you've already been.
Yeah.
You've just never paid attention to it, the thing that you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
When I started the journey, I was pulling from other sources because that's what I knew to do.
Yeah.
And then I had an aha moment of like, yo, you're fucking worthy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so fucking worthy. I'm so loved. Like, and it's just it's one of those things that until you experience it, you can't really relate. But it's when you just know something in the moment. Like, in the moment, you are just so sure of, and you just know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you just, and it takes, I think a lot of people can sit and talk to computers and they do these podcasts and they're on social media, but a lot of people don't sit and talk with themselves and talk to the little kid that's in them or talk, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I sit and I look in the mirror and I talk to little Ebony.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to the bottom of it. Like, how do you feel? What's going on? And I journal and I talk. And it might sound weird, guys, but honestly, it's very therapeutic. And I feel like it's an exercise that I got from one of my therapists. So even though it sounds weird, so does sitting on your phone with your camera on, talking to people that you don't know,
right,
giving advice on something you have no idea about, then you turn the camera off and you're miserable on the inside.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So sometimes we have to do things that's out of the ordinary or out of the, out of the box, I guess you'll say, in order to get the results that we're looking for.
Absolutely. You know, and I think it's an important note to touch on about drawing from other people, right?
Yeah.
Because when they stop giving,
listen,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
And I think that's
when
how people find
up?
Right.
Okay.
That's how people find themselves in like these cyclical relationships where it's the same thing over and over again. Take a break. Yeah. And start loving on you.
That part, because why are we jumping from relationship to relationship without taking a moment to grieve what has just transpired and then to work on whatever it, because in a relationship, regardless of what people say, and I may, y'all say what y'all gonna say, it takes two.
Yeah.
There's no one side. There's no somebody else did everything wrong and I was doing everything right. No. Right. Two people did something and for some reason you couldn't come together, so for some reason you decided to call it quits, right? And guys, don't go in talking about things that are, I'm talking surface because you know how these, y'all get on the internet and you start. I ain't talking about nothing too crazy, so you don't have to come give me your life story in the comments. I just mean surface level relationships where certain things happen, infidelity or whatever, and I think that sometimes we don't sit with ourselves and take accountability of the part that we have played, whether big or small, in the relationship, right? And I think that it's important for us to hold ourselves accountable, because without accountability, how do you grow?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Without it, how can you really sit with yourself and say, okay, this is what happened. I understand it. This is what I brought to the table. This is what I did to cause this situation.
But
so next time,
even if they didn't do anything, what did you allow?
What did you allow?
Right? Because that's still exactly. Right. People don't understand
what red flags did you walk away from?
Correct, that part.
What did you let slide?
Yep.
Because then you still have to own your part. Like,
Yeah.
I let the red flags go.
Yep.
I let some of the things that he say just roll off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take accountability that because you didn't love on yourself enough, you allow certain people, things, places, blah, 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 into your life.
Yeah.
And then you did not set the tone for it, nor were you a stand for yourself in those moments.
Right. I saw something on Instagram the other day, and this girl was talking about her brother, right? Mm-hmm. And she was saying that he was dating this girl for 7 years.
Yeah.
And they broke up, and then he just started dating someone else. And he's engaged after 6 months. She allowed him to be there for 7 years, taking everything that she had to give in hopes of getting something. If you put yourself first, love on you, people are not going to come and play in your face.
And
I
when
try
they
to
do,
explain
baby,
people all the time.
This is the thing. We all have a choice.
Correct.
We all have a choice.
Correct.
So when you don't love on yourself, you choose to allow people to treat you
any kind of way.
Any kind of way. Because honestly, guys, the way other people treat us, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, is the way we treat ourselves.
Yes.
It's the way we treat ourselves.
Wow, yeah.
Because when we are a stand for ourselves and we love on ourselves, we don't allow other people to treat us any kind of way that we don't.
Bro, do you know who you talking to?
Do you know? And it's because you loving on yourself a certain kind of way that you now have set a standard.
Yep.
So when you're not loving on yourself, it's because you haven't set any standards. And it's not just other people doing it. It's how you show up for yourself.
Yeah.
How are you treating yourself? How are you loving on yourself? And if you're not doing it, then no one else is going to.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you have to set some boundaries about what you're going to accept and what you will let slide. Now, it's your choice on what you let slide, right?
It is. It's
and
your
you take
choice.
Accountability for that.
And that's
but you should definitely know what you're not going to accept.
Yeah, that's the hard part, I think, for women. I think that it is hard for a lot of women, and I don't know all women, right? But when we sit in these circles and we have these little powwows and this girl talk, and it's like, I'm just going to be me. And if he don't take me for me, and it's like, but girl, do you see who you are being?
Right.
Nobody wants it. Don't nobody want that. Go fix yourself. Go look in the mirror. Go deal with what is there for you.
Yeah.
I think that it is so toxic. And I have been, listen, I remember having a conversation in my 20s with a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And my friends have always been older. She may have been like 5 or 6 years older than me at the time. I was probably like 25, 26. And I remember her sitting me down, and we had stopped talking for maybe like a week or two. And then we went out one day, and she was telling me, she was really trying to be a friend and come from like, Ebony, sometimes you could just be so mean to people. And I was just like, but if you know my heart, then you know who I am. And see, in my 20s, you know what I mean? Like in my 20s, I don't really understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, you got to take me for who I am. And of course she was going to love on me and be my friend. But what she was trying to get me to see was how other people are viewing me, because I was the girl, like, you can't sit at my table.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're still mean.
First of all, I am very nice, guys. Okay?
With that voice, yes.
I am very nice, okay?
But yeah, it is important how other people see you, right?
It is.
Because sometimes, and I mean, again, you don't have to take everything that people say to heart, because people will just be haters, and they will not.
Correct.
But
it's important to get advice from people who love and value who you are.
And you know who those people are.
Absolutely.
You know, and you just take it, sit with it for a second, assess what you want to take, what you don't want to take, and let the rest go.
Absolutely.
But people on the outside can tell you some things, and you recognize if you act in a certain way or not. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it takes an outside person for you to actually come to grips with, oh,
Absolutely.
wow, this is how I'm showing up. You know what I mean? So I think I just say all that to say, because in 2024, we still have women who are like, take me as I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, evolution is always going to be. Mm-hmm. So if you're unwilling to grow and to change and to nurture who you are and to evolve, I think it's benign to expect someone to come into your life who you have such a long list of things how they need to show up and how they need to be, and it's just like, but you're talking about you're still just going to be who you are,
right?
What are we talking about?
Right.
You want the total package just for you to show up and be mediocre?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are you doing?
What are we?
Listen, you can't want everything like
You
that.
can't
I mean,
want everything. But
that
and
is
we have
true.
to, I know that sounds so harsh,
No,
but
it's
that's the
truth,
reality
yo.
of it. It's like, take me as I am. So you want to be mediocre, but you want this man who is, I roll my eyes when I say this guy, 6 figures, and you want this man who is, no children, or no baby mama drama, or can have cars and whatever your list is. You know what I'm saying? All the things that don't really need to be there, but we're not even gonna go there.
Right. It's another episode.
Another episode. And you want this person, and he has to take you on dates, and in Atlanta we talking about the date got to be $200 more. Girl, you got this long list, but you gonna show up as mediocre you.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Not acceptable.
Do the work.
Do the work.
And
I think that we don't have to, but I think that there's a need for us to create more spaces where we can not only hold ourselves accountable, but we're holding each other accountable.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think that is very necessary, especially in our community. Like, this isn't us just having conversations just for YouTube. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we really doing to evolve? So as we are having these conversations and we're talking, this is girl talk.
Absolutely.
This is the chat.
And we're growing
the
from these same conversations.
Absolutely.
Right?
We are growing from these, and it's a lot. We're taking the steps, we're utilizing our tools, and the tools that we are so excited to share with you all after each episode. You know what I mean? We're doing the things that are necessary every single day to become the better or best versions of ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
If you don't do it, then what are we even doing?
What are we even doing?
So, talking about tools, right?
Yes.
What are some tools for loving on yourself and really exemplifying self-love?
Yeah. So, tools, I'm going to say for me, it started with therapy. The first tool, because sometimes we are not even in the know that we're not loving on ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes we don't even see how much we lack the love for ourselves.
Yeah.
The compassion for ourselves, the grace for ourselves, the nurturing for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that having a therapist is the first step, because and it's talk therapy. That's what a therapist is. That's the best tool that you can utilize, because you have an outside source who you can sit with in a safe space and completely be authentic and vulnerable, and no one judges you for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no one there to judge you for it. And I think that's the first step to anything, is to having a safe space for you to just be.
Yeah.
Without any judgment.
That's a good one.
Starts there. Yeah.
That's a good one. I think I would say the first step for me would probably be to carve out some time, right? Just for you. Set an appointment on your calendar, on your phone, whatever, and that time is for you. And during that time, just figure out who you are, right? Sit with yourself for a bit, do some things that you like, because I find that when you do things that you like, you really start to learn about yourself. Not really what other people in your ear. What do you like to do?
We're not talking about going to the club, y'all.
No. Sorry, we're not
Stephanie,
talking about that.
We're talking to YouTube here. You know this? Who we talking?
We are not talking about going to the club. I'm talking about really time where you sit with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Take yourself out to eat. Go to a painting class, something that's creative that can really get the juices flowing, you know? And you really start to learn about yourself. And just carving out time, I think, is just the most important thing, because if you don't do that, then you let everything and everyone just be in your space.
Yeah.
And you really need to do the work on you. How do you start to do that without setting aside time to do so?
You know, I get that, and I hear that. And, you know, I think for some people it works, right? I think you have to be because, say, for instance, like, you're in a depressed state. Yeah. Right? You have all the time to yourself. So how do you really, like, how can you, right? Not how do you, but how can someone like that carve out time for themselves to kind of pull themselves out of the depression? How can they utilize the time tool?
Right.
For themselves?
So I think you're not really purposely pulling yourself out, right? I think in carving out that time and doing things that you enjoy doing, it happens with that. Because we can say, like, I think if we want to talk about like depression, it would be more focused, because me in a depressive state, I don't want to go talk to a therapist. You know, it made me feel some type of way. But just doing things I think that you enjoy really helps soothe the soul. And really allow you to come to some sort of realization, like, oh, I do like this. I forgot. Or, you know, I am good at this. What did I, you know? And so just to sit with you and do something that you love to do, not the club,
please,
is important.
Yeah. Not drinking, where, you know, things
Right.
that bring out, and
Right.
I think those are the things that we have to hit on, because what we think, we are coming from, we've evolved
Yeah.
to who we are now, right? That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that we don't have more evolution to go.
Absolutely.
But there are people who will watch this who haven't even gotten to this space that we are at. You know what I mean? So I think that sometimes it's important for us to really give ABC 1, 2, 3 answers, so that people can know, like, yes, we want you to do. I think what shows up for me when you say that is, when you do things that make you feel good and that you love, it puts you in a more positive state.
Absolutely.
And then when you get into a happy state, right, even if it's temporary, when you do something that puts a smile on your face and it fills you up or it makes you feel fulfilled, then you focus on that.
Yeah.
I think that starts to lead you down the right path. Versus because when you're depressed, your focus is on depression. Your focus is on the lack. Your focus is on the things that you don't have, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, and again, I know, as crazy as this sounds, all of it is a choice.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's all a choice when it comes down to it, and we're speaking like just the reality of it all. Even when we're in the midst of it, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like, what is next? You know what I'm saying? When will this end? So I'm coming with no judgment, but I do want people to understand that even in our saddest moments, it is a choice.
Yeah.
We can choose to wake up and say, fuck this. Like, today I choose to just be happy and focus on whatever it is, whatever little piece of happiness that I have in my life. If I just focus on that one thing could become more.
Yeah.
When you choose to focus on the negative, guys, negativity is what is going to be there. It's
Absolutely.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like frequency, and it's whatever you put out into this world, whatever you choose to focus on, that is what the world is going to bring to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's hard for me to explain. Not really. I know, but it's hard for me to it's hard for me to explain it on here without offending people. But I just feel like, you know, the choices that we make and the things that we focus on dictate a lot of how our lives look.
Absolutely. And some of those choices would put us in a state where we aren't going down the best path, right? And that leads to a snowball effect. And so just making the right choices for you every day.
Absolutely. And it's hard. And also making the right choices, but giving yourself grace.
Absolutely.
When you don't make the best choice for one day.
Yeah, you can. Every day is a new day.
Every day is a new day, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
Nobody is perfect. It legit is okay to mess up, as long as you don't quit.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What about boundaries?
Boundaries are important.
And self-love.
Boundaries are number one, I think. You know, like having boundaries for yourself so that you know what you will allow and what you won't allow. You know what I mean? And I feel like boundaries only come when you are a stand for yourself.
Yeah.
And you are consistent with yourself.
Yeah.
You are dedicated to yourself, and you have discipline for the things that you set for your own life.
Yeah, and it could be baby steps. You
for
know?
Sure.
Like Ebony said, everything is a choice, and so it could be baby steps. So just taking a breather. If we even talk about relationships,
yeah.
So I'm not dealing with this dude no more. Whatever. What did he do that I am not accepting the next time, right? Or what did my mother say that I am not accepting the next time? What did Granny do that you know what I'm saying? So everybody in every area of your life, What did you do to yourself
Listen.
that you should not have done, and you are not going to accept from yourself going forward? So I think boundaries are super important, and it just takes that first step to start to recognize that you can do it. And once you do set that, it just becomes, I think, a little bit easier.
So I have a question.
Jesus.
Yes. Call them. What's one of your boundaries for your self-love?
One of my boundaries for my self-love, it's a new one.
Okay.
I would say 2023.
Okay.
It's saying no.
Okay.
Yeah. I think when I turned a certain age last year, I'm just like, yo, I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel great about it because I don't even need to give you a reason.
Right.
Like, it's not me making an excuse.
My no
I'm
is
saying
in
no.
sentence.
Right. Period.
Yeah.
And even with the why, because I don't want to.
Right.
Because I said so. That's just what it is. Whatever it is. If something doesn't feel good, if something is going to put more stress on you than it's going to add to your life, no. Just no.
Absolutely.
And I can't. I can't.
And that's just it.
Absolutely.
And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that.
Yeah. What's your boundary?
One of my boundaries is it is also very new.
Oh, okay.
And I've been standing in it so effortlessly. One of the things that one of my coaches or mentors told me a while ago was people, places, or things. When something doesn't feel right and you have to question it, the one question he said, I want you to ask yourself is it healthy? Is it healthy? Right?
Yeah.
Is this person in this moment healthy for me? Is this person healthy for me? Is this place healthy for me? If I go to this event, is it healthy for me?
Yeah.
Are the people I'm surrounded by, is it healthy for me? And if in any moment, especially if it's repeated, if the answer is continuously no, then my job is to make a choice, right? The choice is to stay or the choice is to go.
Yeah.
And for me, I think my boundary is if it is not healthy for me, I cut it off at the neck.
Yeah. You got to.
You just got to cut it off.
Yeah.
And standing in that, and I don't have to do a ghost thing or anything. I'm very I never want to leave anybody any ill will. Sometimes with certain people, though, guys, you have to.
Yeah.
You cut that shit real short.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not even saying sorry. Block.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what you have to do with certain people. For me, if you are not that type of person where I feel like I can give you some type of closure or this isn't working or whatever, I will give it. And if not, I will cut you off.
Yep.
And I will keep it moving and act like we've never met. If it's not healthy for me, then I just can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It becomes infectious.
It does.
You know, when you let that little bit slide, it just
starts to add it on.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's one of the boundaries that I've created for myself, and I see myself moving in those moments. Like, this doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
And I have no ill will.
Yeah.
I can see you and not have listen because the energy is still gonna be good.
Yeah.
So it's
that's good. So I have something else. It's not a boundary.
Okay.
But it's just something that I've decided that needs to happen, right? And I will say that I've wanted to do this before because I see a lot in my sister.
Okay.
But more recently, and you get on my nerves when you do it, but I admire it, right? And so I just saw him do this the other day. It's taking up space, right? And just like the things that I want, the things that I need, just not really considering everybody else all the time and what they may want to do or may not want to do. Like, this is either my time or my money, or this is just what I want in this moment and it's not going to hurt anybody. So let me just ask for it, And so I find that taking up space is one of my goals that I want to continue to do for the rest of the year, and just really resting in that, because we deserve the things that we want, right? Everything that we want. Yeah. And so it's time to go and get those things and just live in that.
And live in it.
Yeah. I want this table just because I like it. Like, you know what I mean? Can I sit there or, whatever. So, yeah.
Okay. I love that for you.
Me too. Shit. Me too.
Okay.
So a question for you.
Yes.
What's one time that you really had to cut it off at the neck or whatever because you needed to preserve yourself?
Oh, not Stephanie asking the big question.
I mean,
Stephanie's asking the big ones. Okay. Talking to, cut it off at the neck. It's
at
like,
the neck, like, yeah, that's it.
okay.
Yeah.
So I was talking to this guy or whatever. I was talking to this guy or whatever. And we were having really great conversations. I mean, we were really getting along, right? But it always works like that in the beginning.
Of course.
You know? And at the time, I had a male coach.
Yeah.
Right? Who was like giving me the play-by-play, like in dating. And he's like, this is how we're going to do it. And this is how we're moving from now on. So I'm really observing the person that I'm talking to, and I'm really looking at him and just being there. I'm being present to how he is being. And one day I was catering an event late night. You know, I gave him a heads up the day before, like I have all this going on. I gave him actually a heads up the week of, because once I get into catering mode, I go silent because my mind is focused. I need to get things done, and I am very like, you know what I mean? Like I have to be a certain way. I can't talk to you and cater and go shopping at the same time because I need to be focused. That's just how I am. So that day, the day of my event or whatever, he calls, I don't answer. I don't answer for nobody. If I'm in the kitchen cooking or whatever it is, if I'm in the zone, that's it. It's me and music, okay? It's me and the ancestors. It's no one else. It's no one else. Because I be vibing and I want to get stuff done. Yeah. So later on, you know, the event is over. It's like, and I'm an hour away from home. Yeah. Okay. And so he calls me and I finally answer. Yeah. You know, hey, this is my day. What's been going on? Blah, blah, blah. We having a good conversation. Now, our conversations usually last 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. We're talking like, damn it, is we in high school or something? Yeah, that's so cute. It be giving a good feeling. Now, what happened in the conversation was something that was so unexpected. I was sharing a story with him, and it was something about that story that didn't click for him. He did not like it. Yeah. Right? This is where conflict comes up. So our first conflict. Yeah. And for me, in this conflict, I am coming up with so many, like, solutions. Like, okay, because when he went off about whatever was there for him, he went off about something that had nothing to do with him. So I was just trying to figure out what exactly was it.
You know they hate that.
Because I get what you're saying, but you're not saying anything. Right. I need you to tell me exactly what it is about what I said about a conversation that had nothing to do with us. Yeah. It had to do with me and someone else, me and a girl. Just telling you some shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, what was it about what did I say that affected you? Yeah. He all over the fucking, you said, I know what I said. Right. But tell me what part of what I said affected, like how, because I get what I said.
How did we get here?
Do with you. Right. Tell me what affected you. Yeah. And he couldn't do that.
So he just wanted to be mad.
He wanted to keep saying the same shit over and over. Yeah. And it did nothing for me. And then I think at a certain point, you're getting loud. I'm tired. Yeah. First of all, I didn't answer my mama call and I answered yours. Yeah. The last thing I'm trying to do is have an argument. And what was so amazing about it was the fact that I saw what was going on. Yes. And I'm really trying to get to the root of what's there. Because I've been the person on the other side. Yeah. Like, I've been that person on the other side. And I'm really just trying to get you to tell me so that I understand whatever it was that triggered you. Yeah. I will know next time not to bring up that subject or whatever that is, because I have compassion for you. Yeah. But without you telling me exactly what the trigger is, for you to only repeat exactly it is like the story that I'm telling you, it does nothing for me. It doesn't give me a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at his big age and his profession of being a counselor, I just thought that his like conflict resolution was
not
not
there.
It wasn't there at all. And at the end of it, like, because we did talk majority of the ride home.
Yeah.
It was one of those things for me, though. I was just hoping that he was wanting to get off the phone.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to leave any situation angry or, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like in the conversation, it was like he sucked my energy out of me. And what was interesting, and I'll say this because I'm just getting into like feeling other people's energy and feeling my energy more and stuff like that. And one of the things that it was like my energy got sucked out. But before the conversation started, he was like, I'm so tired. I don't think I'm going out tonight. After the argument, he was like, I feel good. I'm about to get in the shower and go out tonight.
So the purpose was to hurt you or get some sort of reaction out of you.
Yeah, and it just wasn't giving.
Yeah.
What it was giving was, oh, you getting ready to go out? Go ahead
Great.
and get in the shower.
Yeah, get dressed.
I never picked up his call again. Because what is most important is not how it goes when it's going good, but how do you handle conflict when it's not going good? And something so simple as a conversation I'm telling you about me and somebody else triggers you, and you as a man cannot communicate that to me properly for me to have an understanding and to learn a lesson out of it. How can I trust you to lead me? What are we doing? How are we doing? At the neck, cut it off. Phone rang. I don't even know who that is.
Right. New phone, who this?
New phone, who's this? Cut it off real quick.
You know, it's so crazy how when people are upset, they just try to make you upset.
Yeah.
Just to hurt you. And I think it's unfortunate because it could be so easy as to tell me what's upsetting you.
It could be.
Because it's because I didn't answer your call. So just say that so I could reaffirm you in us. And then remind you that this is how I operate. This is how I work.
Yes. And what's interesting is even in the midst of, I'm not going to call it an argument because I was just sitting there listening. I was really just trying to get where he was, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking all of this.
Yeah.
And it's like.
You better than me.
Listen. I was really sure because it's having the compassion and it's the learning. And that's what the boundaries have to come in at a certain point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little grace. It ain't going to be that much, though. It ain't going to be that much. But one of the solutions, as I said, maybe we need to cool off.
Yeah.
You know, let's take a breather. Let me go grab some Starbucks, even though Starbucks closed by then. And then let's jump back on whenever you're not feeling, you know what I'm saying? When you're not so fiery and stuff. So I gave all these solutions and none of them were good enough for you. Yeah. You wanted to argue.
Yeah.
You wanted to argue.
That was it.
And why is it always the people that say, I don't like arguing, or
that
I ain't arguing with the ones that want to argue?
The most about the smallest things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I cut that off at the neck. Yes. And I think it was more so because if my energy is drained and yours revs up, and you get energy from an argument when it drains me, for me, that's an issue. That's very toxic. Yeah. So for me, I just said, it's not going to work.
And that was the first argument?
That was the first one. It was the first one.
Dang.
My coach was like, you don't want to give him another chance? Nope. I said, nope.
Nope. Because you probably still couldn't tell me what upset you.
You know? And it lets me see how you act. Jesus, if we were in front of each other and the conflict was like a little worse than a conversation, how would you have how would you have shown up? Yeah. I don't even want to know. That's because scary. You were on the phone cursing and yelling. Yeah, well, not cursing, but yelling and all this stuff. And it's like, bro, I said, breathe. Just breathe.
They hate
you
that.
You don't even have to yell at me.
That was probably making him so mad when you told somebody relax. Like, what?
But I was trying to do it in such a loving and compassionate way because up until that point, we were flowing. Yeah. We had great vibes. Every time we got together, it was good energy. Yeah. Man, to see somebody in action when things are not going their way is a different, listen, it's a different kind of thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And sad at the same time.
Very much so.
You know, because I think that every time that you enter in a relationship, of course, you have high hopes for that thing.
Yes.
And so just to be let down like that by something that's so easy to kind of get through, it's just like,
yeah,
dang.
It is. Yeah. And the thing about it is when we create these boundaries for ourselves, we have to stand on them.
You have to.
You have to stand on them.
Because
you'll have so many people, like, I had so many people, family included. Well, why? It was just one argument. Yeah, but how many times do I need for him to show me a red flag before I say, oh, a red flag is a red flag?
Yep.
Conflict resolution is so big on my list that if you do not show, if that's something that you don't have and you can't show me within the first one or two arguments, you are not for me.
Because they'll keep pushing those boundaries, right? And then it gets to a very dangerous point. Whether it be physical or, emotional or mental. Yes. Every time you let somebody push your boundary back, it gets further and further till it just disappears.
Exactly. The thing about standing on your boundaries is then they have a choice.
Right.
They have the choice.
Yep.
The choice of, fuck it, I'm out. Or the choice of, no, I respect it.
Yeah.
And it won't happen again.
Right.
Or I'll do my best for it to not happen again, or if it shows up, this is the resolution that we can have, or resolve that we can have around it. You know what I mean?
And that's the easiest way to find the people that are for you, right? Because if you notice that I have a boundary and you kind of adjust yourself to accommodate that, that is huge as a grown person. But if you come up against it and you out, well, great, because I don't want you around me anyway.
And again, applaud the person who says that I can't respect your boundaries, because if they can't respect your boundaries, it means that they don't even have respect for their own boundaries, nor do they probably have boundaries for themselves. None. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you just allow people to keep disrespecting your boundaries, because then what does it say about you? And that's friends, family, foes, everybody, blood, non-blood, you know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
I don't think that it's right for anybody. I don't care if we grew up together. I don't care if you are a family member and we are related by blood. I do not care. If I have boundaries and I ask you, or I communicate to you that these are my boundaries, and every time I see you or have a conversation with you, you are disrespecting my boundaries or acting as if they don't exist, then I have to cut you off.
Period. And let's normalize supporting people, cutting people off because they disrespected them. Like, just because you're family doesn't mean that you should push me to kind of let somebody play in my face.
I think people are so comfortable being in toxic environments and relationships that it's so normal for some people. And I think we need to just keep having these conversations about, it's nothing normal about being toxic.
Nothing.
And it's not cute, girls. It's not cute. Like, I think people have these conversations sometimes and they talk as if like being toxic is cute. It's nothing cute about it.
It's nothing cute about it. It's damaging.
It's very damaging.
Because your brain starts to learn to accept that kind of stuff, and it just never works out. And there's no relationship that you need so bad to damage yourself. Exactly. Like, for what? People that you're in a relationship with are supposed to compliment and build you up.
Yes.
Not break you down. Like, what's the point?
This is not the military.
Correct.
This is not, what do they call it, basic boot camp or some shit like that?
Right.
Like, this is not that. I don't need, you know something, girl? That's a word, though.
Listen.
Because how many people feel as though they need to break somebody down in order to build them back up? First of all, sir, ma'am,
you didn't start the foundation here, period. Okay? So there's nothing for you to break down.
Seriously.
How crazy is that?
That's what I was about to say.
Who are you?
Who are you? It be the God complex for me.
Listen. Please.
It be the audacity for me. Like, not you trying to break somebody down for you to build them. If you don't get sit your Bob building it. Listen,
your
Bob
broke
the builder.
self. Like, I cannot. How you broke and you trying to, please. It's crazy.
It is.
Super crazy.
So.
But yeah, I'm glad that you were able to do that, because I know it's hard, especially in new relationships again.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't that hard.
You're hilarious.
It wasn't that hard. Listen, when you are a stand for yourself, and I think because I'm a new stand for myself.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it was testing the vows I made for myself to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, she growing.
Yeah.
She growing.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard at all. It
That's
was like,
good.
damn, we had some good conversations. We had some vibes and stuff, but conflict resolution is at the top. But big dog, you can't do that. You gotta go.
Oh my!
Everybody was looking at me like, damn, Ebony.
Right.
Yeah.
That was quick.
It was quick. Yeah. Because how many times somebody got to show me?
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah. Especially if we haven't really built a rapport for me to give you that much grace as 3 tries. Because some people, they get 3 good times now. You get 2 or 3. Really, it's 2. Because the 3rd time, you're out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. If you haven't built up a foundation and you already acting crazy, like, imagine if.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are the things that I think as women, especially when we lack self-love, it's like we look past that type of shit.
Yeah.
We look past it. It's like, oh, we make excuses for them and how they feel and what may have been going on with them. But my thing is, and when my coach asked me, he was like, you don't want to give him another, it was just the first argument. Here's the thing. This is what I told him. I did not put all this fucking work into building myself up and get into this space where I'm at. The cost of therapy, the time that it takes, getting the mentors, getting the coaching, going into those dark places, journaling every day, meditating. That shit is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
For this bum, no, I'm just joking. For this bum to come in here and break me down, nah.
That's the New York in her, okay? But, right, I'm not doing all of that work for somebody to have me go backwards. Because you are upset and you can't communicate that. So now you want to press buttons.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've worked on my buttons. So my triggers ain't triggering like you want them to trigger.
Listen, let them know.
Me having compassion and showing and having space for you is irritating to you. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go harder, and it's like,
he
bro,
needs
how
some
toxic
work.
is that?
He needs some work. Could you imagine somebody showing you compassion and you getting upset at that?
You're getting upset because you probably haven't experienced it before. You probably haven't experienced you being in a heated argument or a debate with yourself, and me just giving you space.
Work through that and then come back, because
I was just like, I get it, but just tell me what is there that is triggering you. And it was just like, all right, well,
gotta go. See you when I see you. Oh my gosh.
Listen, showing up for yourself is going to be an interesting thing, okay?
It is.
But it's going to be a journey where you look back and you appreciate everything that you've been through, because Lord knows it builds you up for something.
It really does.
It builds you, and everything is a lesson learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that my conflict resolution is A1, but I have an understanding that when I am faced with something, when things are out of my control, they're out of my control.
That's it.
They're out of,
that's it.
I'm going to be upset all day because some shit out of my control.
Right.
I'm going to be mad at the world because something has happened and it's out of my control. No. Yep. Okay, it's out of my control. What solution can I put into place to just move forward?
Absolutely. This ain't the end of the world.
This ain't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Shit gonna happen.
Absolutely. And if it's the end of that thing, okay, well, we're gonna find a new thing.
We're gonna find a new thing.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting is we've come across that just on this journey of the podcast.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally, we have had some things that would break people.
I think so.
Break people.
I think so.
They'll be like, "Oh, this is
too much. It's too much. It's too much." You know.
And I think that is so good because we have come together, and it's like, okay, shit.
What's next?
We mad for a little second, but we can't change the fact that whatever has happened has happened. So how do we move forward? How do we pivot?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And that's so important in your growth journey because these things are small in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yes.
These things are small. So if you can't learn with these things, how you going to do with the big things? You know what I mean? So just where you're at, just figuring out how to work through that thing so that as you grow, you're better prepared for the bigger things that don't go your way.
That's what you want.
Absolutely.
You want to be better prepared because even we ask for more in life.
Yes,
We
all the
want more
time.
out of life.
All the time.
So if we can't handle the little
Right.
issues that we have, what's gonna happen when it's up?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right. And it's about to be up.
That part.
It's about to be up.
Listen,
For
we're gonna be at
everybody.
the conference like sound check.
Right.
Cool, we've been here before.
Right.
Let's just pivot.
Right. New camera. That one broke. We did this before.
So yeah,
Lord.
and I think that sometimes it's good to laugh at yourself.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it's good to laugh at yourself and just learn. And I'm still in the midst of learning to not take everything so serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not me against the world. It's really not. And
the laughing is important, though.
It is.
It that's such a true statement, and I want to emphasize that the laughing is important because even though it's a lesson, it's still a good lesson, right? Even if it was a hard lesson, it's still a good lesson.
Still a lesson,
Absolutely.
right? And the lessons are needed for growth. If everything is good, right? How do we actually evolve?
How?
There's no way.
Right. Right. You can't
You need the
even
trials.
think of different things. You can't
Because
be
everything is
innovative.
right.
Correct. Everything is just smooth sailing. It's never like that.
It's never like that.
Mm-hmm.
What really makes us or breaks us is how we handle the shit that comes our way that we may or may not have been equipped to handle.
Correct. I didn't anticipate this. What could we do now?
Right.
Yeah.
It's always the pivot, man.
Oh my gosh.
It's the pivot.
I be breaking ankles sometimes though.
You wasn't ready.
Right.
You wasn't ready.
Dang.
So yeah. So I think, with that being said, setting boundaries is something that is number one.
Absolutely.
In your journey, and really sitting down with yourself and figuring out what your boundaries are.
Period.
And they change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be stuck to any, you don't have to be stuck to anything. And I feel like when we take on something and we are just bound by it, it's ego.
Yeah.
Because some things are meant for a moment, and then those boundaries may evolve. They may change.
Absolutely.
Because we evolve and we change.
But don't change them for people, okay? Change
Correct,
them because you've evolved.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Don't let other people come and tell you what you need to and don't. And
Correct.
what you feel comfortable and good in changing and doing,
Correct.
That's what you do. It's perfect. So, yeah. That's a good one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know what? This has been an amazing.
It really has.
I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad that you all were able to be a part of our first episode.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Episode 1 we got here.
Jesus. It feels good though, right? Do that happen to Ed. It feels really good. And so we'll have more coming, guys.
Yeah. We look forward to conversing with you all the time.
Absolutely.
And filling those toolboxes, right?
Absolutely.
As the journey goes on so that we can all evolve together.
Absolutely. So, again, thank you all for being here with us on the podcast, Talk, Heal, Evolve. I am Ebony.
Stephanie.
And we will see you next time. Okay, guys? Please make sure to
like, comment, and subscribe.
Period. Bye.